Alright, 1 second, let me... my my mic is actually hot on stream. So, yeah, everyone, the Riker stream just went down. I am quickly coming back on just to cover this. Oh, we just got information that Riker's stream actually went, like, Riker's internet actually disconnected. So, in the meantime, I'm guessing we probably don't want to continue around for, like, 1 minute and then we cut again. So in the meantime, if you want to, like, talk anything about the run saber, I will quickly enable the Discord capture, and you can talk about the run if you want to. If there's anything you would like want to talk about.
Hanging out. We really missed was that there was a pig who chased after us and smashed through a door. That's all we missed. Now, I was gonna say it earlier, but we have sort of some new tech in this run as of kind of recently. Credit to Vanquish and Parhelion, who is the current world record holder for chain climbing. There's a special little way you can jiggle the controller or the joystick if you're playing on PlayStation to let you climb chains, ropes, all those sorts of things faster. And that was discovered by Vanquish and Parhelion, and not only did they discover that, but I took it into The Last Guardian, and it turns out that that same tech works for a lot of games. So it was kind of impressive that what they discovered, you know, was not only for this particular game. They yanked that creepy parasite right out of the back of that pig, and now he's chill. He's not angry anymore. This is our first exposure to these mind control things. These guys are doing what I tell them to do, but all of them have to do it, so solving these puzzles is making these guys work together, basically.
I'm just making sure you're not, like, continuing the run, right?
I'm going a little bit, but...
Just, because we'll need to cut the stream again. I'm just providing it so the stream isn't down completely.
Sure.
Things are working. It's but I cannot restream this entire run. I am just temporarily live until Riker is back.
Sure. I can just hang around if you'd like.
Yeah, just hang around and we'll be restarting time. I will get the timer for... Actually, Riker should probably have the timer. Yeah. Sorry about this, it's just, it wouldn't be an online marathon without some tech issues.
Of all the runs that this could happen during, Inside is probably the most topical, so... par for the course. Round. When the timer comes back up, I would say probably add 2 minutes to whatever time was up when the stream went down.
Right.
Of where we are right now.
Riker's internet is apparently still not back. I will actually... We'll actually just ask Riker. This wasn't planned, but we'll see. Maybe I'll just take over for the rest.
Sure.
But I'm gonna have to confirm that. My body will not like me, but we'll see. But in that case, since we're only... Let me just double check the schedule quickly, because I think we were still ahead. Yeah, because in that case, if you'd want to, it's still 12:21. It's still not like until your scheduled time, so in theory, we could restart the run.
I mean, if you guys would rather restart the run, I can certainly do that. We're not very far into it.
That'd probably be, That'd probably be better because that would also put us back right exactly on schedule. So I guess we're doing that. But just wait, I'm just still haven't received confirmation from Riker if I am restreaming this or he.
Well, since we have the opportunity, for people who are still watching the stream, I'm assuming that it's still up. This is about how far we are into the game. We have like a progress bar that shows where, I don't know, is that 1/6, 1/7 or so through the game? I think we'll probably end up restarting. But we did not really very much of the game so far, so no worries. Thanks for your patience, everybody. I'm sure we'll be back to creepy faceless people world in no time. To be fair, it's only the little boy who doesn't have a face. Everybody else just wears masks. I don't know if the game's trying to say that the little boy is special, or that he's not special, you know, and everybody else is special. I don't know. Well, while we wait for figuring out if and or when to restart the stream, I'm just gonna at least go and do some optional content that wouldn't normally be featured.
Right, I'm just gonna let you know I am done waiting. I am going. So if you want to restart, let's restart now. I'm done waiting here.
All right.
So I'm gonna restart your run.
Yep.
So
Restarting it is.
And we'll kick this run off again.
Okay, just a second. Okay. I am ready to start time when you guys are.
Alright, just count me down whenever.
Alright, timing starts when I hit this first input, so timing in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Inside version 2.0. So for those who are just joining or weren't here for the first run, well, the first little chunk of the first run, we're doing little bunny hops here because it's very slightly faster than walking. It's not quite just jumping as soon as you hit the ground. There is certainly a little rhythm to it, otherwise you end up going slower. But we are going to be jumping throughout basically the entire run, except for when the little boy is running on his own, which you'll notice if he like stumbles real quick. The stumbling initiates his run sequence. So this is all deaths percent, so we're going to try to trigger each unique death animation in the game. Here's the first one. For a lot of these, you have a lot of options about where to get these. So the strategy is, you know, where do you get them so that you don't go back very far to the previous checkpoint. But at the same time, you know, it's... Whoops! Well, caught by a guard for the second time, just to be safe. A lot of it is runner preference, though, honestly. Like, there's certainly a more optimized way to do it, but there are a couple places in this run where we're not going to do the most optimized location because it's quite risky. And in that case, we'll just find a different place to get those animations. The run is definitely very atmospheric, and the the game audio is kind of what makes the story in some ways, so I'm gonna try not to talk quite as much as I did during Spyro, if you guys were here for that. So here is number 2, attacked by a dog. Gonna kind of double back in the water just a little bit because it re-triggers his very slightly quicker water walk animation if you go backwards, just to make sure we can outrun that dog. Because that dog is mean. He is very fast. That's a common reset point in this run against that dog because he's so fast. So here in just a second we're going to get to see the boy run for the first time, and you'll see sort of what I'm talking about, where he stumbles and then that triggers his faster run cycle. Right there. So we definitely want to let him run whenever he is willing to do that. And again, we'll get that quick run and start that process going. If you look closely, they're shooting tranquilizer darts, not bullets. Not really sure why. This game is definitely up to a lot of interpretation. Although I think if you stick around till the end of this run, if you've never seen this game before, because we are going to basically play through the entire story, those tranquilizer darts are going to be the least of your worries when it comes to story. I think perhaps saying it'll make sense is a bit generous, in a good way. I personally am a big fan of this game's story, even though I honestly don't kind of know what it is. Gotta round up our little chicken friends. They'll help us solve the next puzzle. Here's what I was talking about earlier in the little quick inside run that we did shortly before this, about Vanquish and Parhelion discovering those quicker chain and rope climbs. Now let's get this going. Come on, chickens, I got a job for you. Don't worry, they're okay. I don't really like sending poor little chickens through the... Who even knows what that is? I mean, it's not really a wood chipper, is it? It's a like a leaf blower or something, but they're okay. Yes, we are literally going to die in every way possible. So the boy has a unique death animation depending on what has happened to him, and we are going to trigger all of them. The next one that we're heading towards, if you didn't get the hint from all these pigs lying on the ground, is going to be a pretty unfortunate counter with a pig. There we go. So that was, you know, hit by a pig, mauled by a pig, whatever you want to call it. He's got this creepy parasite on him, and that seems to be what was making him angry. So as soon as we yank that off, he's not really angry anymore. And this is really our first encounter with these mind control machines. All these little floppy boys in the background will do the same motion that I'm doing for as long as I'm in this machine, but they all do it together. So getting them to cooperate basically is how you solve the puzzle. We're going to be seeing a lot of those throughout the run that get progressively more complicated. And now we're just starting to see in the background some of the more atmospheric stuff, like this line of people who don't seem to be quite right. Don't really know what's wrong with them, but they're not really the same as we are. So our next goal has to do with that safe up there that's dangling on that plank. It's going to be kind of hard to see, but the boy has a very slightly different animation when he falls specifically from that safe. Runners call it heart attack from falling from safe, because he's just very slightly different than he would be just falling like normal. So we're going to have to stand on that and let it crumble underneath us, basically. Some runners will also take fall from a great height here, but honestly there's a better place to do that, so we're gonna save that for later. And the good news is there are some times where, you might accidentally fall. That's great. Then that counts for that fall from a great height and you don't have to do it later. So sometimes an accidental death can be in some ways beneficial. So again, we just got to get those guys to work together to stand on those, and then we're good to go. I love this category because it's basically any percent with like a little additional flair. Just a little bit more goofiness. Anytime the boy stumbles like that, we do want to let him do that because it's, again, very slightly faster. That yellow cord underneath me, if you're playing this game and you're trying to get the alternate ending, those yellow cords are what you're going after. You're trying to follow those and solve the puzzles they're connected to. And that's a separate category of run for this game, but we won't be looking at any of those today because they take us way too far out of the way. If you fall down specifically there, you'll land in a shopping cart. Fun fact. It doesn't, there was some debate, it doesn't actually count as a unique death, it still just counts as a fall from a great height, but kinda quirky. We're gonna get grabbed by this electrified rope as our next death. Usually called caught by a spotlight. Or something similar, you know. And while it is true that I will kind of tell you what's happening a little bit, I make no claims that I will ever tell you what's actually happening in the story. Because this is certainly one of those games where that's up to you to figure out. So this little security camera obviously kind of has the suspicion that we're not really like everybody else. And this camera definitely can kill us, and we do actually want it to kill us, as per all deaths, you know. But we're gonna wait until the opportune moment to have that happen, so that we can be basically really close to a checkpoint and not have to go back very far. Even the little baby back there has a mask. Like the little baby that woman is holding. when the camera blinks, it's indicating that you nearly got caught. So we were cutting it a little bit close there. So, tasered by security camera, or whatever you would like to call this, is basically right here. Essentially the same as caught by the spotlight, but just with a different little camera. That guy with the dog back there is gonna cause us some problems. And we're coming up on one of the harder, not only one of the harder puzzles, but one of the hardest deaths in the game to get. It will likely take me a couple tries. That's not uncommon, so just bear with me. But first, we gotta solve a couple little puzzles using these mind control things. First order of business, I, mind controlling this guy, have to get this guy to mind control another guy. He's gonna drop me off back here. And then actually, you know, I think I want to do this. Let me redo what I just did here. Come back and get this, my dude. I'm gonna stick this boy up here. Now I can only grab the one of them, and the door's open. Good to go. Now, we're coming up on this very challenging death. This is going to be crushed by a horizontal door. It's the only opportunity in the game to get this, so we have to get it right now. And it's very, very tight. That was close. Technically, that will count as fall from a great height, and we won't have to do that later. So in that sense, it's not such a bad thing that we couldn't get that on the first try. Again, very close. We'll have a couple run-throughs with this particular death. It's super, super common to take multiple attempts to do this, so this is not unusual at all. Because the boy, it helps that he's facing forward. That's going to make a difference, but you know, sometimes it's just, oof, just like that. Sometimes it's just getting it to trigger. So third try, really, that's pretty solid. That would still be competitive. And now we can just hop down here like normal. If we drown here, it's alright, because drowning is another death that we're going to need. So it's always worth it to risk it there. You know, worst case scenario, we'll just get that later. But best case scenario, we'll get it right here. You can't lose. So the door over there is going to either open or close depending on how high the water level is. So we're going to manipulate this just a little bit so that it doesn't have to entirely fill before we... Well, I'll take drowning there. So now we don't have to drown later either. Which is honestly kind of nice. So you see how this run is flexible? It keeps things interesting, right? Because if things don't work out the way that you originally planned, you're usually kind of setting yourself up for some time save later when you don't have to do that thing. I'm gonna actually... I went back up for air so we don't get that drowning a second time. Just to make sure that we get this, I let that go a little bit further than it needed to. And you can see there's a spotlight passing above that kind of glances over this room from time to time. There it is. We're going to be dealing with that in a minute, and that's another pretty challenging segment. It's possible to one-cycle some things in this run, including that spotlight, but it is, like, verifiably harder on console. I'm going to do my best to do that, but because of the way the joysticks work on console versus PC, we might have to two-cycle it instead. I think that's going to be a two-cycle because he didn't grab that right at the beginning. That's fine. The wheel that I'm trying to turn basically doesn't turn as fast as I can turn the joystick, which is why it's harder on console to one-cycle this. I know you're over there. Hello? The game just kind of forgot how to game for a second.